Thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Scentbird is a subscription service where each month you get a 30-day supply of a designer fragrance of your choosing for only $17 per month. I really like Scentbird because I love wearing perfume, but I always forget to put it on before I leave the house. So having a perfume in a little travel case is perfect because I can just toss it in my bag and I won't ever forget to put any on. Scentbird is flexible and you can skip any month you'd like without penalties. They have over 600 designer brands including Prada, Versace, and Gucci. If you'd like to subscribe and you don't know where to start, Scentbird offers a quiz to help you decide what fragrance would be best for you. I was really excited to try Confessions of a Rebel and David's perfume because I'd never heard of those brands, so Scentbird is an awesome way to get introduced to new fragrances. My favorite fragrance that I received is Confessions of a Rebel Well Played. I think that this is a really awesome unisex scent. It's listed as a cologne, but I really like wearing it myself, and I think that it smells great. So you just put the tube into your atomizer and twist it down for safekeeping, and when you'd like to spray it, just twist it up and there you go. With your first month, you get a free atomizer, but they have so many other colors for purchase on their website. Make sure to click the link below and use our code TSESB55 for 55% off your first month. And thank you again to Scentbird for sponsoring this video.
Hello everybody and welcome back. So lots done this week, especially in the garage, lots of cleaning, so let's get right into that. So, starting outside of the garage, I've got a little bit of a mess that I need to clean up. But of course, this mess will be going away quite soon. Hoping somebody comes and gets this fridge here soon because it is certainly, I think, something that would look really, really nice in somebody's, I don't know, man cave, or maybe for doing a 1940s, 50s kitchen would be rather nice. So, if one of you guys want something like this, let me know. That's just spray paint, by the way, down there. So I don't know why somebody has a little bit of spray paint, but after a little bit of cleanup, this could be a really, really cool fridge. And it works, so I just don't want to see it be thrown away because that would be a travesty. So the garage we found out actually has a leak, and most of these other items are so damaged from water that they're not really, basically they're not really worth trying to save because of that. Especially this dresser here. It didn't fare so well. So I know not to put anything in the garage where that was because that is shot. Not that that mattered too much though, because simply put, it's not a piece really worth saving, probably from the 80s, 90s. It's made of plywood and particle board, so nothing too crazy there. But let me show you the garage. So coming into the garage, there are still a lot of the usual suspects in here. We got the stove over here, which you'll be seeing later. I actually have a replacement for. It's, I think, 2 years newer than this. It's the same model. It's just more deluxe. But don't worry, we're not getting rid of this one. I'm still going to, I think, restore it and maybe find it a new home. Or if, at some point, maybe if my father gets a nice old home like this, it could be a really good candidate to go in there. At the side of the house, which I'll show you guys in a bit, that was that big stack of wood that was at the side of the house. We've got it all stacked up here. Kim's got more parking space now, and I don't have a big ugly pile of wood sitting on the side of the house, which wasn't terribly attractive. All the pews that used to be laying on the floor are stacked very nicely and neatly up over here, so now if I ever need to come grab any more oak, there's plenty to grab from, and there's lots of space saved because we have it stacked up so nicely. The gate has stayed primarily where it was, and there is still this couch to get out, but we will kind of fight that battle when we get to it. We did also get this couch, this Victorian couch, pulled out of here. I think it's actually pretty early, I believe, and correct me in the comments if I'm off on this, I believe this is what's called federal style. Of course the back is broken there, but I think that's a fairly easy repair. The rest of the couch looks in really good shape. The stuffing inside of it, or the packing, or the cushions, I don't know the actual correct terminology, but actually is straw, this stuff, and it actually has horsehair in it as well, so this was a fairly fine piece of furniture. This is pretty cool actually. I don't think it's correct necessarily arrow-wise for my house, but it's certainly something I won't be throwing away. This will be something I repair, maybe get reupholstered, or if I can convince Kim to help me by learning upholstery, I can do all the woodwork, she can do the upholstery, and this can be put back into service and used because it's absolutely stunning, and I certainly don't want this to end up anywhere where it will be further damaged. And now, my Hall & Brown machines. I've got my 2 table saws here because I guess I collect specifically Hall & Brown table saws. Actually, no, these are just the 2 Hall & Brown machines that came up for sale first. So this is I forget the number of it, but this is a smaller version basically of that saw. That's a number 60 Hall & Brown there. Again, I forgot the number of this, but the actual table for this is right here, and it also weighs a ton. This, you guys might remember, was on the side of the house for the longest time because I had nowhere really to go with it, but now it's inside, it can stay in the dry, and I'm very, very happy to get it so where no further damage can come to these things. I understand they're giant iron things, but I still don't want them to get damaged. So having a nice dry place to put some of my pride and joys is really amazing. So that was actually one of the main reasons to get the garage back together. So it's really good. And this is that 1960s, 50s, 60s refrigerator with the Lazy Susans. Also let me know if you guys want something like this because this is something I have to get rid of. It doesn't do anything good for my house. However, it's something I think is really cool and probably still works. So, I mean, look, you can even have butter controls here. You know, your butter conditions. You know, do you want it hard, medium, or soft? I don't know why, but it's a pretty cool fridge. It's super clean. I actually did find the shelf for this here. It's just dirty, it needs to be cleaned up, but it's intact. It's a perfectly intact fridge, and it's really cool. You don't see them like this anymore, so I do hope that I can find a good home for this. If you're that good home, let me know. Again, there's no cost to this. I don't want anything for it. I just want somebody to have a good, or just want it to have a good home, essentially. So that is currently the state of the garage. We did also just have a meeting with the guy that's going to be replacing our garage door here. So hopefully that'll be happening shortly. Not too shortly, of course, they have to manufacture one because it's kind of an odd shape. But yeah, kind of messy back here right now, but it's something we'll be working towards getting cleaned back up and looking better. And you know, it's nice to have more space to put more things, especially since coming up here pretty soon, I'm looking at getting 2 more Hall & Brown machines, and I'll have to have a place to put them until we can finish that right there, which this is kind of what I'm planning on putting here, or something like it. So let me know how you guys feel about design like that. You'll notice also it's a wooden structure. I don't know that I can actually afford to build an actual brick building, especially at 2 stories. So wooden will probably be the way to go, but don't worry, it won't be vinyl sided. We'll get actual wooden siding to put on it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. right guys, so now we're back outside and back out front, and I want to discuss the patches I did this week with you guys. Starting off with this one, which was the most technical one I've had to do so far. You can kind of see the line where it was, and then almost this entire side had to be redone. This whole giant chunk was missing, and it was really deep and really far this way. And yeah, getting it to want to stay there was difficult. It was a lot of building it up really slowly with a very small tool, so lots of little material at a time. And then yeah, that little square you guys see me use sometimes to scrape things back down has been the most invaluable tool with this, because I know approximately where this line should be, but if I put the square against here and scrape downwards with its edge, I'm able to keep these things nice and square and perfect and level. And I have to say that the lines that I got on that, I mean, they're basically perfect. So you can see here on the other side, this isn't the worst example of them all, but you can see how badly these things come out, and things that are cracked like that, that's gonna have to be taken back to here just to get this to stop. It's cracking and progressing all the way across. A lot of these little hairliney guys aren't too bad. And of course, underneath all of these corbels, because this is where the water was trying to escape from the stone, these are all busted up. They're really concaved in back here. Luckily, we have a nice clean edge up here that's still solid that I can use, and that should be a fairly easy fix back there. So with that material I've been using, this has been the absolute hardest of the challenges. This spot, I know I've showed you guys before, was absolutely demolished. It was so terrible. I mean, you could tell just from the sill here how far gone it is. That's the actual bottom, so if you draw a line across, you could just see how much is gone. Same thing with the corbel, it's almost been sheared completely in half. It's just a nub at this point, but that's okay, we'll build it back up. But this right here was the absolute deepest repair probably I'll have to do on the entire building. You can see how thick it is there. I mean, it was just about 3 inches deep, which is right at the limit of what this material will do without having to do 2 runs of it, which would have been totally possible. If I had to do that, that's fine. But if any more than 3 inches, we're looking at half of the material, of the original material being gone, which isn't great. And then it starts becoming a candidate for replacement completely, which would have been a very hard thing to do. So luckily we caught it just at the nick of time. If this had gotten too much worse than it actually was, oh man. But this was not a easy fix at all, but I'm pretty happy with my line here. We're pretty straight. You can see it was cracked all the way up to there. It's the very end of it right there. And yeah, it was about a half of a 5-gallon bucket of the material to fix this. There's so much that went in there. I mean, you can see here just by my feet, the amount of material that came out of that. I mean, giant chunks like this, and this even broke off from a bigger piece. So yeah, I can say it again, and I will say it again, I'll continually say it again. Do not paint your stone buildings or your brick buildings with paint that isn't lime wash or mineral paint or something that allows the material to breathe. You might not be the person that sees it deteriorate, but you're messing with the structure for future generations. So, like always, be mindful of the materials you use to repair these things, or if you want to change the look of something, that's fine, but use a good material, because you can really, well, destroy something. And for the last little thing we got done this week, I mentioned we got a new stove. Well, here's the time lapse of me trying to take that stove apart. Spoiler, I didn't get it quite apart yet. So you guys saw what was going on with the stove. The screws were so greased in there, they just don't want to come apart. And it's a giant puzzle. But of course I have to take this thing completely apart at some point, because I have to take each individual piece and either have them chromed or nickel plated, and I have to have the enamel fixed in a lot of these places, and test all of the actual equipment. The gas was hooked up not too long ago, it was working not too long ago, but they did say they smelled a slight leak, so I had to figure out exactly where that leak is. So lots of fun things in restoring a stove. So the reason I like that stove better than mine, it is a 6-burner stove. It has 2 ovens, 1 broiler, and a bread warmer. And also has this little toasty rack thing in the middle, which is pretty cool. I've only ever seen one of those on one other machine. It's the one the Campbell House has. The Campbell House actually has the exact same model, except for the burners being on the right side like the one we have, the burners are on the left side. That's the only difference. But if it's good enough for the Campbell House, it's good enough for me. It's why I wanted a quick meal stove to begin with, is because of the Campbell House. So it'd be really cool to have the exact same model. But I'd love to pick it up out of that house and move it directly. It's just too heavy. We're considering hiring a moving company to help us move it. But something that heavy up on legs where you can't get a dolly under it is really difficult to move. People were smaller back in the day. Not sure they moved everything. The hoodie sales are over, so the hoodies are no longer available. We ended up selling, I think, 320 of them, which is quite amazing. I have to say thank you guys so much. That goes a long way to getting the Mansard roof done. It doesn't take us all the way there, but it takes us further, and that's all that really matters. But I think the really cool thing about this, guys, is the guy who built this house, Mr. Brown, his brand, we've resurrected it. It's become a thing again because you guys are going to be around the world wearing this merchandise, his brand. That just is the coolest thing to me, guys. I cannot wait to see, I don't know, maybe that's one of those things, guys. Once we do get the hoodies in, you guys are gonna have to send me photos of yourself all over the world. To me, it just warms my heart knowing that his brand will be back out there. His company that he worked so hard to build has a life again. And that's no small thanks at all to you guys. So thank you guys. It's cool about the money. It's cool about to be able to help with the Mansard, but it's really cool to me that we revived Mr. Brown's brand. And I just think that is so cool. So my deepest thank you, guys. Thank you. And that will do it this week. Thank you guys so much, as always, for being around, sticking with me through this project. I know it's slow sometimes. I know it's hard. But I'm glad you guys are getting so much enjoyment out of it. So thank you guys as always. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.